Hello. Oh,
I had to yawn. I'm sorry. I'm tired.
okay, anyway. Welcome back to Explaining to My Roommate.
I'm Reagan.
I'm Easton.
I have zero pep today. I'm sorry. I'm
No,
tired.
it's been a rough couple of weeks
Dude,
for us.
can I tell a quick story?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just had a panic attack. Okay. So the way that my professor does things is he locks the exams
Yeah.
until the day and gives you one day to do them.
Terrible.
I got a notification that he changed something about the quiz, and then he had said it was locked today. And I was like, what the fuck? No, it has been on the calendar for June 10th for the entire quarter. Okay, and I frantically, and I have his class, I have two of his classes,
Mhm.
okay, and I frantically email him like, this has been on the calendar for June 10th, 4 weeks, okay,
Like, what do you
for
mean?
the entirety of the class. I'm double checking that it's still June 10th,
Yeah.
and he responds with, yes, I'm sorry, it is June 10th, you are correct, I had to open it for someone who had military conflict.
Oh.
So, and I was like, oh, thank the Lord. I just about had a panic. And I
Yeah.
was panicking. I was trying to do other things, but I was panicking the entire time in bed until he responded to my email. He was like, you're good.
You're okay.
You're totally fine. Oh, anyways, that was my story.
Okay, so this week it's my week. It's Easton's turn. And I'm taking a little bit of a break from Dragon Age, now that we finished Dragon Age Origins. Although, Dragon Age Update Corner, they changed the name of Dragon Age Dreadwolf, the fourth Dragon Age game, to Dragon Age The Veil Guard. And there was a vague quote about the Dreadwolf not being the only god the player has to worry about.
Uh-oh.
And I'm like, oh, God.
Oh, no. There's another one.
No, there's going to be like 7 more. You don't know the lore. You don't know the lore. If, perhaps more, actually. We're thinking potentially the creators, the elven gods, and then also the forgotten ones who are like the evil elven gods. So potentially like 7, 12,
Got it.
12 potentially. There are supposedly 4 forgotten ones. And then the Dreadwolf is a whole separate thing.
Got it.
So many, hee hee ha ha.
Okay, one more question since we're off topic still. Why is your drink green?
It's a Baja Blast.
Okay.
It's a Baja Blast.
I'm sorry. Y'all can't see, but Easton's drink is just green.
It's a Baja fucking Blast, dog. She
like,
Baja on my...
My grandma listens to this.
Sorry. Well, I didn't finish it.
Okay. Anyways, continue.
Anyway, so today I will be talking about Until Dawn because I am excited about the vaguely announced movie that has nothing confirmed yet. It's got nothing confirmed.
Yes.
I love horror and I also hate it. I feel like at this point my affinity for horror can be somewhat described as self-harm. Yeah. I know what it does to me and I do it anyway. I'm not like my friend Hannah. She like loves horror and it doesn't scare her at all, except like some of the like more intense ones.
Yeah.
But like she's just not scared of it. I, on the other hand, have nightmares for weeks. I know what it does to me. But I love Until Dawn, and I want to talk about what I think will happen in the movie, really. So we're going to go through each of the 11 chapters pretty vaguely, pretty quickly. Okay. We're not going to go through every single, like, you can do this exact thing. You can pick up this rock. But Until Dawn has a whole, like, cast of characters, and all of them can die, or all of them can live. Any one of them can die at any point. And it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. So we start 1 year before the game. Yeah, we're just going to get into it. We start 1 year before the game starts with like a group of friends hanging out at their rich friend's house. We have Beth and Hannah Washington, their brother Josh Washington. They're the rich friends. They're the house. And we have another number of other characters. Mike, Emily, Ashley, Matt, Chris. Is that everyone? We'll figure it out as we keep going. I'll talk about them all. Sure. But the setup for this is that Hannah has a crush on Mike. But Mike is dating Jessica. I forgot to mention Jessica. It's okay. Did I?
Mike.
Yeah. And so they decide... Jessica. We'll get into that. So they decide to be really fucking mean to Hannah and play a prank on her where Josh is her brother, where Mike is like, hey, Hannah,
No.
You want to come to my room? And then they like film her taking off her shirt. It's actually fucking terrible.
Criminal.
And all of them are there except for Sam, who I also didn't mention, and Josh. Everyone else is literally in that room. The only one is Chris is passed out drunk. Chris and Josh are like passed out drunk downstairs, and Sam is like, "Hey guys, should we be doing this?" And then Ashley is the only one who has like a little bit of remorse. Everybody else is like super into this. They're like, "Fuck yeah, let's be mean to Hannah." And Beth is like looking for her sister. She's like, "Where's my sister?" And then she hears her sister crying, and she's like, "You guys are dicks. What the fuck?" And Hannah runs out of the house into the snow. She starts running away. Beth chases after her. And this is like the first like part where the player can actually do things. As she's chasing after Hannah, there's a few QTEs, and then they both fall off a cliff.
Oh, goodness.
And Beth manages to grab on. They're being like chased.
Yeah.
So I'm already doing really bad. But so after like finding Hannah, they see like somebody fighting something, and there's like fire in the fucking trees, and they start running away. And this is when they fall off the cliff. And Beth is able to grab onto a tree branch, and as she's trying to like pull her sister and herself up, there's a man reaching down to them. And this is the first choice the player can make in the game. You can either let Hannah fall and reach for help, or you can fall with Hannah. Your choice doesn't matter. You both fall either way.
Damn.
Yeah. And that is how the 1 year later ends. The girls both disappear. Nobody knows what happened to them. So to just review our characters, if I can remember everyone who hasn't disappeared, we've got, well, we'll do the disappeared ones too. We've got Hannah and Beth, the twins who disappeared, Josh, their brother, Sam, who is like the only good person, Chris, who is Josh's best friend, Mike and Jessica, who are currently dating. No, Mike and Emily are dating. Jessica is a super mean girl. Matt is the one who was filming the scene. Ashley and Sam were hiding under the bed watching it. And is that everyone? Chris was passed out drunk. Josh was passed out drunk. And then we cut to 1 year later. And this is where the game really starts. And in chapter 1, we really start to learn about how things have changed. For example, Emily and Matt are now dating. Emily's no longer with Mike.
Got it.
Jessica and Mike have a weird fucking thing going on. Jessica and Emily are no longer friends because Jessica fucked Emily's boyfriend.
Yeah.
Whatever, ex-boyfriend. This chapter consists basically of learning the characters' relationships to each other and getting up to the cabin. Also learning the game mechanics. And there's a few like instances where you can like throw a snowball and kill a bird. Really to teach you the game mechanics, sometimes doing nothing is the better option, things like that. Really prep you for the don't move QTEs. So chapter 2, a lot of the same, but we do get some plot going. Matt and Mike almost get in a fight, basically over the girls. And this is where all of the characters start to split up.
Got it.
Jessica and Mike go to the guest cabin. Matt and Emily go to collect her bags that she left because she's such a bitch. I like Emily as a character. I love her. Mm-hmm. She is such a bitch. I love her for it, but it's the truth. Let's see. Sam goes to take a bath. Ashley and Chris go to get a Ouija board, a spirit board. And Josh is kind of talking to everybody. He's kind of going around right now. He's just kind of going around. Yeah. And everyone is like really weirded out by the fact that like Josh invited them to this cabin on the anniversary of his sister's disappearance. Everyone is like, "Hey man, what's up?" And he's like, "I just missed all my friends. I wanted to like celebrate my sister, even though they were the ones who caused his sister's disappearance." So that's like a summary of chapter 2. And then in chapter 3, we open with the spirit board. And so the spirit board will say help, will spell out help, and then depending on your choices, it'll say warning or sister. And Josh assumes that his friends are being mean again. So it's Chris, this is Chris, Josh, and Ashley.
Okay.
And he gets up and he leaves. He's like, you guys are being dicks right now. Like, my sisters are gone. And he, like, runs away. Mike and Jessica make their way to the cabin, and they find a dead deer. Well, a dying deer. And regardless of what you do with the deer, it gets, like, grabbed.
Ooh.
And, like, gets, like, flung away. And they start running. They start running towards the cabin, and when they make it there, they're like, oh, it was just a bear. And then they get on with trying to fuck, you know?
No, I need to dip so fast.
I know, I'm like, they're in the cabin, admittedly, but like, I'm sorry, you just got chased by a bear. What is wrong with you? And this interaction can go a lot of different ways, but it ends pretty much the same. They hear a window get smashed, and Jessica is like, no, it wasn't a bear. It was our stupid friends playing a prank on us. And she goes outside and she starts yelling. She's like, fuck you, Emily. Mike and I are gonna have sex, like, fuck you, bitch. And then and then she comes, and she can be like naked for this scene. She can be in like 3 different states of undress depending on how the scene with Mike went. I mean, not like completely naked. This is not, well, it's graphic in the way that horror is graphic, but it's not like sexually graphic in any capacity. There is like gore, but it's not. Anyway, she comes back inside and immediately gets snatched through the window, just grabbed by her hair and snatched. So she's gone. Well, so Chris and Ashley, we cut to Chris and Ashley. They're looking for Josh, and they're like wandering around the library, and they can find some clues. They can find a answering machine message from a police officer to Mrs. Washington, the girls and Josh's mother, being like, it says something vague along the lines of like, I know this mountain man is really weird, but he's a free man. There's nothing we can do about it. And it's like, okay, that's fucking creepy. And so they're concluding that there's a psycho on the mountain. So they think they're being like terrorized by a psycho. That's what we'll call him. We'll call him the psycho. And then suddenly they hear Josh start to yell, and Ashley starts rushing towards the door, and then she's pulled in. When Chris manages to get through the door, he gets knocked the fuck out. He gets hit, and he is unconscious. And that is the end of chapter 3. On to chapter 4.
So Chris, out.
Yeah, and Ashley gets snatched too.
Ash snatched. I don't know where Josh is. They haven't found him yet.
Yeah, they
were just in the library.
Yeah, like they heard Josh yelling, and then they like ran after him.
There's too many white people names.
I know. I'm sorry, and I didn't help at the beginning either. So chapter 4 opens on Mike snatching up a rifle and running after Jessica. So this is where like the first death in the game can actually happen. Depending on whether or not Mike is fast enough, he can either reach Jessica unconscious on like an elevator for a mine shaft, or he can find her with her jaw ripped off.
Dude.
If he gets there fast enough, she'll start to like kind of wake up, and then the mine thing will collapse. It'll collapse. She'll fall. Okay. Regardless of whether or not Jessica died, he'll see a like sort of figure, and he'll start like he tries to shoot at it, and then he tries to run after it.
Yeah. Why? That's so dumb.
He's a man with a gun.
True.
What do you expect from him? As he's like running, he'll see a man in the woods that we'll call the stranger. We'll call this man the stranger. And this man is just walking. But Mike immediately assumes that this man killed Jessica or hurt Jessica.
Yeah.
And starts shooting at him. But he'll find that he's either out of bullets or it's jammed. He doesn't shoot the stranger.
Okay.
He'll chase after him, and regardless of what happens, he'll look over and he'll see a building that is like a sanatorium, like a insane asylum.
Oh, okay.
Insane asylum. Then Chris wakes up. And Chris wakes up in a room.
Got it.
And the psycho is talking to him. And he looks over and he sees Ashley and Josh tied up in literally a saw trap.
Oh,
They're tied up and there's a saw on the ground on a track. And the psycho is telling Chris to choose.
between Ashley and who?
Josh. So between the girl he likes and his best friend. And regardless of what happens, Josh gets sawn in half. Regardless of Chris's choice, Josh, who lost his sisters, sawn in half.
Damn, that's rough.
So, yeah, he goes and he, like, frees Ashley, and as he's doing that, they run into Matt and Emily, who are, like, just have been doing nothing this whole time.
Doing nothing. They're just vibing.
Yeah, I guess. Fighting, mostly, because that's all they do. It's really annoying. And they're like, oh my god, Josh is fucking dead. And Emily is, like a strong leader character, and she's like, okay, well, we got to get out of here.
Yeah,
obviously.
Smart.
Yeah, Emily is, like, for the most part, pretty smart. So her and Matt go to, like, the cable car because they're up on a mountain. I don't know if I mentioned that.
Kind of.
Yeah. Anyway, and Chris and Ashley go look for Sam because she's still back at the lodge taking her bath. That's all she's been doing this whole time.
Unfazed.
They can find a pig's head. That's just a fun little thing. Just, Anyway.
Pig's head.
And that is actually the end of chapter 4.
Sam still in bath.
Sam's still in bath. So, jump into chapter 5. We open with Mike still following the stranger. He sees the stranger interacting with 2 wolves, like gives them little treats and shit.
Aww.
And he keeps walking through the sanatorium, and he sees like corpses and shit.
Ooh.
This is a whole segment, but he can encounter a wolf, and you can actually befriend this wolf.
Ooh.
And this will be the genuine deciding factor of whether or not we see the movie. The wolf can die, not in this chapter, but the wolf can die, and we're gonna wait a week after the movie comes out, and I'm gonna look up, does Wolfie die?
Okay, yeah.
And if Wolfie dies, I'm just watching a synopsis of the movie. I'm not going to go see it.
That's good for me.
Yeah, Reagan doesn't like horror.
Yet I have now seen 2 horror
movies.
Okay,
Abigail was not scary.
Abigail was not scary. I was fine. I asked you to come to find FNAF with me.
And I have a long history with FNAF. Anyway, so you can kind of befriend Wolfie. And, befriending Wolfie is actually super beneficial for you. So you should probably do that. And he keeps going through the sanatorium. He'll find, like, flammable liquid. Important. And then we cut back to Matt and Emily. They'll go to the cable car and find that they don't have a key.
Ooh.
Shit, Well, there's a whole segment of them trying to even get into the cable car station.
Got it.
And they fight the whole time. It's so annoying. Like, they are insufferable. I genuinely don't really like Matt all that much. I wanted to so bad because he's like this sweet jock, and we all know how I feel about sweet jocks. They're my favorite.
Yeah.
But he infuriates me, and I really like Emily, despite her being mean to everyone. I really like her. So, like, I'm like, God damn, Matt, shut up. I also think she's the most competent character in this whole thing.
Yeah.
So
she sounds like it.
Yeah, I'm just like, Matt, shut up.
Just stop talking.
Yeah. Just do what she says. I mean, she is really mean to him. She is, like, kind of emotionally abusive. I guess maybe I shouldn't be so nice to her, but he's also just always also being mean to her. I don't know. I don't think they belong together. They're always fighting. But the fights are really important because they determine a really important thing in the next chapter. Depending on how much you fight, it can actually kill you.
Cool.
So there's a whole thing. Emily almost falls. Matt can catch her. Whatever.
He's a big, strong man.
He's a big, strong man. So after realizing that they can't activate the cable car, they decide to go to the fire tower to try to, like, radio a park ranger. And we cut to Sam in the lodge in a bath.
Got it.
And she starts hearing noises.
Uh-oh.
And she starts to like, the candles snuff out. She gets out of the bath and she finds her clothes are gone. Now, say it with me now. She assumes her friends are playing a prank on her.
You know, maybe we should just stop playing
Yeah.
pranks on people because it's clearly not
Yeah.
going very well.
So she like gets out. She has a towel around her. She's like, "Fuck you guys! Like, give me my clothes back."
Yeah.
And she reaches like the home theater in this like rich person house. And there's a
Right.
video of Josh getting killed. There's a video of her in the bath. Like, she's like, what? And then the psycho is like, you got 10 seconds. And she's like, please don't kill me. And he's like, just kidding about those 10 seconds. And he's, he's like,
I was joking.
I was kidding. And he starts chasing after her. And she can like throw a vase at him or she can run.
Yeah.
And depending on your choices in this whole next sequence, she can either be captured or she can escape. If she's captured, she gets like tied up on a chair. If she escapes, she runs away. She just runs away. And that's chapter 5.
Nice.
On to chapter 6.
Flip the page.
So, I forgot to mention, actually. Matt and Emily get cornered by a herd of elk, but that doesn't culminate until chapter 6. They just meet the herd of elk in chapter 5.
Got it.
Chapter 6 opens with them on the herd of elk, and this is the second time a character can die. If you ignore the elk and just so slowly like walk through them, they're both fine. But Matt can attack the elk.
Why would you?
And they force him off the cliff, which we recognize as the cliff that Beth and Hannah fell off of. So Matt can survive the cliff fall if he passes his QTEs, or he can fall just like the girls did.
Yeah.
I don't think Matt will die here in the movie. There's a much more iconic death that Matt can have.
Okay.
I forgot to mention earlier, Jessica dying in chapter 3, I think it was chapter 3, I think could go either way. I think it could go either way whether or not she dies in chapter 3. That's one of the ones. There are 2 characters that I think will survive.
Yeah.
Matt is not one of them.
Question though. When Jessica falls down the mine shaft, does she live or does she die?
So we don't see her until like chapter 8 again.
Damn, okay.
It's a...
Continue on then.
So if she doesn't die from getting her jaw ripped off, she will reappear in, I think, chapter 8.
Got it. Okay.
But she can still die again.
Yeah.
I think it would be a really cool moment in the movie if you think Jessica is dead from the mineshaft fall and then she just reappears. I think that would be a really cool moment. Whether she survives the whole thing, I don't know. If Matt survives the fall from the cliff, they go up the fire tower and they find a flare gun. And this is where your arguments like matter, because depending on what you do with the flare gun, Emily can keep it, she can fire it off, or she can give it to Matt. And Matt, they can actually both be an idiot and fire it off automatically. And it's like, what did you think that was going to do?
Literally nothing.
But in Matt, if you just like, if you don't argue with Emily enough, you fire it off automatically. And it's like, you got to argue with her more?
Damn.
In order to save his life? That's insane.
Crazy.
They managed to reach a park ranger, and they're like, we can't rescue you until dawn.
Oh, yeah.
We can't rescue you.
You gotta survive the night.
Yeah.
I don't like... I feel like that is just because, like, outside dark is spoopy.
Yeah.
And so they're like, you have to survive the whole night. Nope.
No.
I'm gonna go to sleep, and if you want to kill me in my sleep.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go to bed, actually.
Yeah. Bedtime.
So then,
Can't
where are we?
save until dawn.
Yeah, we can't save you until dawn. And then someone is starting to try to like break into the fire tower, like through the hatch, and they fail. But then the attacker like cuts the support lines. I just hit my mic. It's fine. Like cuts the support lines for the fire tower, and it starts to collapse towards the mines, which exist. I forgot to mention those.
Well, I figured you said mine shaft.
Yeah, the fire tower starts going towards the mines. So after the fire tower starts falling towards the mine shaft, they start trying to like climb down to escape.
Mm.
And Emily falls.
Damn.
And she she's holding on, and Matt can either try to get her, or he can jump to safety. If he tries to save her, the fire tower collapses another level in the mines.
Oh.
If he jumps to safety, he jumps to one level. If he tries to save her, he ends up jumping to the other level because he can't save Emily.
Yeah.
No matter what he does, Emily will still fall completely. And if he tried to save her, and if he doesn't have the flare gun, something grabs him on that floor of the mines and starts dragging him and puts him on a meat hook. And that is how I think Matt will die in the movies. Damn. I think he will get meat hooked through the mouth.
Meat hooked. So if he doesn't have the flare,
Yeah.
if they shot the flare gun,
yeah, he can shoot the flare gun. Oh yeah, so if Emily kept the flare gun, or if he fired it off like an idiot, he won't have anything to defend himself from this thing attacking him, because he can shoot the thing attacking him with the flare gun.
Okay, cool.
If he jumps to safety, he's on another level of the mines and
Yeah.
will not be attacked. But I think that's how Matt dies in the movie. This whole sequence is also, I think this is the part that really makes me not like Matt and Emily, because he's like, I'll only save you if you start being nice to me. And Emily's like, I'm sorry, I'm a bitch, but I've always been a bitch. Like, I don't know what you expected.
That's just me, bitch.
Yeah, I don't know. And she shows a lot of remorse throughout the game of being like, man, maybe I should be less of a bitch. But she's 19. I don't know what you want from her.
They're still children.
I know, but so is Matt. It's just have this argument, maybe not right now.
Yeah.
Not while she's about to fall. So Emily falls. Matt, in my opinion, dies. I think you can also fail a QTE shooting the flare gun, even if you have it. After this, we cut back to Matt and Ashley, who are,
Matt and Ashley.
Chris and Ashley.
Okay.
Sorry, Jesus Christ. They're still looking for Sam. They can't find her.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of conversations about who Chris chose to save. They're walking around, and then they get captured again by the psycho. There's a lot of creepy stuff. They're following voices, and they both get captured by the psycho. There really is not anything you can do to try to escape.
Damn.
And when they wake up, they're tied to a table with a gun, and Chris is told once again to choose between Ashley, except himself this time, which one to shoot.
Oh.
And there's 3 options. You can point the gun at Emily.
Okay.
Ashley. God, I'm gonna...
That's fine.
You can point the gun at Ashley, yourself, or you can choose to do neither.
Got it.
In this scene, Ashley will admit that she has feelings for Chris, and he's like, I have feelings for you too, blah, 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 blah.
Ew.
And the psycho will be like, you gotta choose. But then the psycho, no matter what happens, the psycho comes out and starts laughing. He can get stabbed by Ashley with scissors, if you picked up scissors in the previous sequence.
Oh, got it.
And it's so funny if he gets stabbed, because suddenly his voice changes and he starts sounding a whole lot like Josh. And the psycho takes off his mask and it's fucking Josh. And
That's crazy.
And it's so it's revealed that Josh's dad is a VXF.
Oh, FXX.
Yeah, something.
SFX. There we go.
Yeah, for movies, horror movies.
SFX.
SFX artist for horror movies. And so Josh was playing a prank on all of his friends.
Oh my god.
For one, because he was mad about his sisters, obviously. Yeah. But also, there's a lot of speculation about why he targeted Chris and Ashley, the 2 people who arguably had the least to do with his sister's pranks. But in my opinion, he was trying to get them to admit their feelings for each other. And because he's really deranged at this point. Yeah. I mean, his sisters weren't missing.
He's losing it.
So, yeah, I don't remember if it's revealed that Josh is the psycho at the end of chapter 6 or at the beginning of chapter 7. I'm fairly certain it's the end of chapter 6.
Yeah.
So then we move on to chapter 7. So the psycho is the one who, knocked out Chris and Ashley, and he's also the one who tied up Sam. So Sam is like still kind of tied up because Josh was not expecting to get revealed so soon.
Yeah.
And if she was not captured, she kind of starts exploring wherever she is. If she was captured, suddenly she sees Mike in the grates. So she's tied up in a room. She looks over to the grates and she sees Mike standing there.
Mike.
And it's like, Mike, what are you doing? You're in the sanatorium.
Yeah.
And they're connected, I guess. And so the whole sequence of Mike making his way through the sanatorium leads him to Sam. That's just as surprising in the game as it was for you right now, to be honest.
Yeah. It's just kind of like, that's weird.
Like, Mike is there. Like,
okay.
Hey. So Mike helps her escape. They, like, get her some clothes. They start looking for everyone. Oh yeah, it is at the beginning of chapter 7 that the psycho is revealed to be Josh. It's after Mike shows up. I got a little out of order. Don't worry about that.
It's okay.
But if he gets stabbed by the scissors, it is really funny because they're like, "What? Hold on,
hold a minute."
Yeah, because Josh fires shots at the psycho, with his gun, and then we cut to Emily hanging from a rope by her foot.
Oh, goodness.
She survived her fall by that rope around her ankle.
Yeah.
And she kind of swings herself to safety. And this is where we get, like, our first, I'm pretty sure this is the first, real good look of the true villain of this game, the Wendigo.
Ooh.
So, we'll learn a lot more about the Wendigos. The Wendigo is what killed Matt. That's what's in the mines, is the Wendigo.
Okay.
So she's, like, running away from it. You only get, like, these, like, glimpses of it as she's running. She uses her phone to, like, fucking find her way. Mm-hmm. And while she's in here, she finds where Hannah and Beth died. And she can find Matt's body, too, if he's there. You know, whatever.
Yeah.
Which, in my opinion,
Meat Hook.
He's not. Well, no, not Meat Hook, if he fell off the cliff.
Oh,
Meat Hook is a different
okay,
place.
cool. Sorry.
She finds, like, hold on. She finds Beth's severed head.
Oh.
And she finds a lot of just, like, things and clues about the twins' death, including that Hannah survived the fall, but Beth did not.
Oh, no.
And you find Hannah's diary, where Hannah is, like, writing about, like, trying to escape. She has, like, a broken leg, and she's trying to get out, and she eventually resorts to eating her sister. Now, there is one thing. I'm pretty sure, I don't know if this is just me hallucinating, but if Beth chose to fall with Hannah, her head will still be there. But if Beth let go, Hannah will eat the head also. Like,
okay, I get that.
You know, like, she's like, you fucking betrayed me.
You betrayed me. I'm gonna eat your whole head.
Yeah. I don't know if I hallucinated that. There's also a grave. It might be the grave is still there. Like, the cross itself. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Either way, there's a difference. Then we cut to Chris. Well, hold on. She uses the elevator to escape, and she sees the stranger and tries to hide. But she gets caught by the stranger. And then
Beth gets caught by the stranger?
No, Beth is dead. Emily.
There we go.
Emily gets no, Beth is dead.
Sorry.
Beth got eaten. She gets caught by the stranger. And then we cut to Chris and Matt locking Josh in a shed because he fucking tormented his friends.
Josh.
And you know, they fight. Chris has the options to kind of be more sympathetic towards Josh, or, like, really antagonistic. You can punch Josh.
Mm-hmm.
And they leave him there. They lock him in there. And Josh thinks that Mike thinks Josh killed Jessica.
Oh, okay.
That's what he thinks. Yeah. And Mike is like, fuck. Josh is like, what do you mean? I didn't kill Jessica. And Mike is like, yeah, you did. You did all of this stuff. Of course you killed Jessica. And Josh is like, what? But Josh is also kind of going insane and not really helping his case at all.
No.
And this is where Chris can kind of be like, I don't think he killed Jessica. But you can also be like, kind of sounds like he did kill Jessica.
Kind of sounds like he did. You should do something about it.
And yeah, so they lock him in the shed, and that ends chapter 7.
Okay.
So we move on to chapter 8, with the stranger and Emily, and you find out that the stranger is not a bad guy.
I figured.
Yeah, the stranger is a good guy, and he was the one who Beth and Hannah saw with the fire that night. He was fighting a Wendigo, the big important Wendigo, the most important one, and so he like explains what he saw that night, that he saw the girls and he like tried to help them. He was like reaching for Beth, but they fell. The stranger, so this is where we really see the Wendigo for the first time, chasing Emily up. It's, what is it called? It's like a log cutter thing.
Saw blade?
Yeah, like a sawmill. And Emily can get bitten by the Wendigo if she fails her QTEs. That's important.
Got it.
She doesn't always get bit, but she can. She can also die here if she has the flare gun. She can save herself if she gets caught. No, can she get killed or can she just get bitten? No, she can die.
Got it.
She can fall into a meat grinder.
Ooh.
An ore grinder. Sorry.
Ore grinder.
An ore grinder. The Wendigo can gouge her eyes out.
Ooh.
And the Wendigo can once again gouge her eyes out, just in different ways. Yeah, and she can escape going through a zip line. In my opinion, in the movie, she will get bitten. I think she'll get bitten in the movie. So they'll hear Emily screaming, and the Chris and is it Mike? Yeah, Chris and Mike will start looking for her, and they'll run into the stranger, who tries to help them fight the Wendigo. He's got a flamethrower. Fire is apparently the Wendigo's weaknesses.
Oh, okay.
So the three of them, we kind of skipped over a little bit, but it doesn't really matter. The three of them will try to fight the Wendigos off, while Ashley is in the cabin. So, and the stranger dies in this fight with the Wendigos. He gets decapitated while fleeing with Chris. Did I lie? I don't think Mike fights the Wendigos in this sequence.
Okay.
No, he runs back to the cabin to tell people. I lied to you.
So
he was there.
So it's just the stranger
and Chris fighting the Wendigos. And the stranger gets decapitated, and Chris can die if he's too slow to shoot the Wendigo. He can get decapitated. Or if he tried to shoot Ashley earlier in the day, it's a little bit ambiguous whether she did it on purpose or if she was just like scared and unsure of what to do, but she won't open the door to let him back into the cabin. And he can get killed by the Wendigo. And I think this is a likely way that Chris could die in the movie. But there is a way that I think Ashley will definitely die, and I'm trying to remember if Chris needs to be there for that to happen. I'm trying to remember. It's been a little bit. So we cut to a safe room. So they're in the cabin. They're like in the basement.
Okay.
And depending on who survived, like Mike, Ashley, Chris, and Sam, and who am I missing? Emily, can all be in there. And depending on whether or not they survived. And, Chris starts telling them about the stranger and how he died.
Yeah.
And Mike will, talk, if Chris died, then Mike will do it. And what happens in this basement is they start, researching the Wendigos through all the stranger's, notebooks and stuff. Like, they start looking through his notebooks.
Yeah.
And they start, if Emily got bitten, they start freaking the fuck out.
Yeah, and, I would too.
They find a map, and they all start, fighting about what's the right thing to do. And if Emily got bitten, Ashley can convince Mike to shoot her. And that is how I think Emily will die in the movies. I think she'll get shot. I want Emily to live. But that's such a shocking moment.
Yeah.
So, she gets shot through the eye.
Damn.
And And the reason I think it'll happen is because it's crazy. So Ashley flips a few more pages in the notebook, and
Mhm.
it's like a note from the stranger being like, bites don't affect you. Like, bites do not cause people to turn into Wendigos.
Oh
That
my
is not how
God.
people turn into Wendigos. And so, if Emily survives, Emily's like, what the fuck, Ashley? You could have gotten me killed.
Killed.
Yeah. So I think that would be such a shocking moment for the movie. Like, Emily's dead on the floor, and then Ashley's just like, guys,
Guys,
maybe we should have read the book a little further.
taking that to my grave. I ain't telling anybody
Yeah,
that
no, I would just close that book and be done with it.
shit.
And then you can like conceal Emily's death from like the other characters.
Mm.
Certain other characters. And then that's chapter 8. So we start with Mike. He basically goes back to the sanatorium.
Mm-hmm.
To like try to find a way to fight the Wendigos. And this is where we start to reveal the story of the miners in more detail. There was a mining accident many years ago, and basically what happened is it collapsed in, and a lot of the miners turned to cannibalism to survive. And this is where we like start to realize this, and like kind of throughout the game, that Wendigos are a result of cannibalism. When someone yeah when somebody engages in cannibalism, they turn into a Wendigo.
Damn. Guess who's a Wendigo?
Yeah, you're not wrong. And if you befriended Wolfie, he's back. He's back, and this is where he can die. You can save him. So as Mike is like walking through the sanatorium, he sees like Wendigos in cages because the stranger wouldn't kill them because it would release the soul of the Wendigo to infect someone else.
Oh, okay.
So like he would put them in cages and like contain them essentially. Yeah. But we know that like fire is the Wendigo's weaknesses. Mike found that like flammable liquid earlier.
Yeah.
So he starts just killing these Wendigos.
So wait. Never mind. Continue.
Okay, so like Wolfie can die in a bunch of ways. But he can also escape, and he better escape in the movie or I'll like actually lose my mind. And then Mike can also die in this chapter. He can get his neck snapped. If Mike doesn't push the barrel and like shoot it, or if he doesn't have the machete, Wolfie will distract the Wendigos and die. I forgot to mention earlier, Mike has to cut off his fingers in order to survive. Fun fact.
Okay.
He gets his hand trapped in like a bear trap.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember. That was earlier. That was way earlier.
Got
I
it.
missed that.
It's fine.
It's fine. It's kind of an earlier decision, and it's before you rescue Sam. It's kind of crazy.
Oh, okay.
Like, damn. And so Sam and Ashley and possibly Emily and Chris are going through the sanatorium trying to get to Mike.
Yeah.
And this is where I think Ashley dies. She'll start to hear the voice of Jessica, who, keep in mind, is either for sure dead or we haven't seen since chapter like 3. And if she follows the voice, she gets killed by a Wendigo. And this is where we see that Wendigos can mimic people's voices. And that is so creepy. Yeah, I need it to happen in the movie. I need it to happen.
Terrifying.
And Chris doesn't have to be there. So Chris can die outside.
Got it.
Yeah. So yeah, she can like get killed. There. I think she gets meat hooked. I want to say 4 of them can get. No, she gets decapitated. I know that more than one of them can get meat hooked. Where is it? But yeah, that's how I think she would die. And they're just kind of like all going through the sanatorium. She's the only one who can die at that section of the game.
Got it.
Chris can also investigate Jessica's voice if he's still alive. And he can die.
Got it.
Here. Does he get meat hooked? Decapitated. No. Whatever.
No fun.
I know that more than one of them can get meat hooked. Pretty sure 4 of them can, actually. Dang. So then there's like a cutscene where they're like trying to like escape the Wendigos.
Wendigo.
Yeah, this is where my research got a little fuzzy. I'm not gonna lie. So Sam can like try to run away, depending on who's still alive. At this point, if Chris and Ashley both die earlier, I think it'd be Sam and Emily just trying to get through.
Yeah.
And chapter 9 ends with Sam trying to go up the stairs and escape the Wendigo, and Mike blowing up the sanatorium. Which actually happened earlier, but I missed it. He kills a bunch of Wendigos by blowing up the sanatorium.
I have a question for you, and you cannot respond.
Yeah.
If it ruins you, is Josh still in the shed, or is he dead?
He's he's not dead yet.
But he should still be.
He's
still in the shed. Okay, cool.
Yeah, he's not dead yet. Anyway, so that ends chapter 9.
Okay, cool.
And then we move on to chapter 10, which is a lot of it is like about Josh. Depending on what happens, Josh can recognize Hannah's tattoo on the main Wendigo that's attacking them. So
called it.
Yeah. Depending on like finding clues. And Sam and Mike, after looking for Josh, yeah, I was fucking right.
Yeah.
Hold on. They're looking, and as they're going through the mines, they can find the meat-hooked bodies of Matt, Emily, Jessica, and Chris, depending on whether or not they were caught.
No way.
Yeah, I was right. I knew it was 4 characters.
I knew it.
So, so they'll find Josh, and they'll like trying to get him back through the mines. If Josh recognizes Hannah, she won't kill him. She'll start dragging him away, but she won't kill him. If he doesn't recognize her, he gets killed. And you can't save Josh. There's nothing you can do for Josh, unfortunately.
How sad.
I know, it's really sad. And then, yeah, there's nothing you can do for Josh if you don't find enough clues. In the mines, if Jessica and Matt both survive their encounters with the Wendigos within the mine, Matt finds Jessica. If Jessica falls through the mine shaft, she'll wake up, and Matt might find her, or he might be dead. And they'll like make their way through the mines, and if they succeed in their don't move checks, it's a really fun mechanic where you have to not move the controller. And you can't just set it on the table either, because the controller like shakes. So you can't just set it on the table. Like you have to do don't move. It's a really fun mechanic.
That's cool.
So Jessica does survive if she falls, and they can make their way through the mine. Matt can leave Jessica behind and she'll get killed. But she can also make her way through alone if Matt had previously died. Mostly by hiding, and then they make it out of the mines, and they survive until dawn if they make it through the mines. So yeah, she can die once again by getting her jaw ripped off. She can hide, just always getting her jaw ripped off, or she can get meat hooked. I think what I'm missing is that the Wendigo kills her by ripping her jaw off and then puts her on the meat hook. I think that's why I'm missing it in my notes. And I think it's the same with the other characters too, where the Wendigo decapitates Chris, but then puts him on the meat hook. I see what I've been missing. So Matt can also survive on his own if he like either survived his encounter with the Wendigo or jumped onto a different ledge. I think it would be really interesting to have Jessica survive this long. I don't know if I think she'll make it out of the mines, but I do think it would be interesting to have her like wake up in the movie and be like, what the fuck? It would also, having the don't move segments in the movie, like obviously it wouldn't actually be an interactive mechanic, but having like the Wendigo like walk past her would be really tense.
Yeah.
I think Jessica has a decent chance of surviving the movie
Hmm.
if they do it the way I like.
Yep.
The way that I like it. Sam and Mike and Emily and anyone else who's survived, like Chris, Ashley, can all make it back to the cabin. And when they get there, there are Wendigos in the cabin.
Ooh.
3 of them. Hannah and 2 others.
Two
So as they like get in there, we have more don't move segments. The Wendigos are fighting each other.
Ooh.
And this is pretty much end game.
Yeah.
So it's basically Sam and Mike. And these are the 2 that I think are most likely to survive the movie. I think these 2, Sam has major last girl energy.
Yeah.
And Mike, I think, has to survive this long. He doesn't have to. But I think it makes the most sense if Mike survives this long.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not he gets killed at the very end is another thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the 2 of them are on like the top floor, I think. And the Wendigos are fighting. One of them kills one of the other ones. And they run into the fireplace and create a gas leak.
Oh.
So Matt is standing next to a light bulb. Sam is kind of standing near a light switch. So Mike smashes the light bulb.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's so tense. And then depending on who's in the cabin, they like each, okay, how do I describe this? So Sam needs to get to the light switch, and there's like 3 don't move segments.
Got it.
And you have the option of staying still or running to the light switch. And if you run too soon, people will still be in the house and die.
Oh,
So
yeah,
through each of these segments, like if you stay still for the first one, Chris runs out. If you stay still for the second one, Ashley gets out of the house.
Yeah.
If you stay still for the last one, Mike gets out. And Emily also, whoever else is in there.
Yeah.
But if you fail like your don't move, then you die.
You die.
But other people can still get out even if you fail your don't move and Sam dies. So she can, once everyone's out of the house, if you wait long enough, you run to the switch, and so there's 2 Wendigos left alive. One of them Hannah, and one of them another one.
Another one.
And what's really interesting is during the last segment where she like has to run to the switch, the other one sees her and starts chasing after her, but Hannah stops the other one, like saves Sam. And it's like, did Hannah recognize Josh when he recognized her?
Yeah.
And so it's like, did Hannah recognize Sam, one of the like few people who was like actually nice to her, who didn't fully participate in the prank and was like more like against it, like how Ashley and Chris were. Although she kills Ashley and Chris, no problem. And she kills Sam earlier, no problem. It's kind of like a end game, like realization. Like... because it's a cool shot, like the building is exploding and Sam is like running and there's a Wendigo like coming at her, and then Hannah like jumps on the other Wendigo and like fucking kills it. And the building explodes. Sam flies out the building, classic.
Yeah.
So there are instances in this chapter where each of them can die. Sam, if she fails her don't moves. Mike, if like Sam hits the switch too soon. He can, let's see, Emily can die in the explosion. Ashley can die in the explosion. Hannah will die regardless.
Yeah.
And the unnamed Wendigos will also die. Sam can die earlier too, just by getting like fucking killed by the Wendigos. And in that case, the Wendigos kind of win. I honestly, I don't think I know how it ends if Sam dies earlier. Hold on, let me look that up real quick. I honestly, because I know she can die in other chapters. I'm like, but I honestly don't know how the game ends if she dies in other chapters. But basically, I think that Mike and Sam are the only ones who I like definitely think will survive. Well, Sam, I think everyone will. Jesus Christ. Sam, I definitely think will survive. I don't think they'll do an everyone dies ending for the movie, and I don't think they'll do an everyone survives either. I think that Emily is pretty much doomed. from getting shot in the head. I think
Yeah.
Ashley is doomed. Chris, I don't know. Oh no, she really can only die in chapter 10.
Oh.
I mean, I guess that's why I don't know how it ends if she dies. If she dies, I guess that explains that. So yeah, she really can only die in chapter 10.
Mm.
And Mike can also, no, I know he can die sooner than that. Anyway, maybe this wiki that I just looked up out of nowhere is wrong. I'm like, because I know that Mike can die in the sanatorium.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think they have to do the reveal that Hannah is the Wendigo, so I
Yeah.
think Josh will recognize her. And in the epilogue, if Josh recognizes her, they find him in the mines being turned into a Wendigo. So like the theory is like Hannah recognized him and was like, I want my brother back.
We're gonna stay together forever.
The other theory is, I forget what it was called, but there's like this essentially like leader Wendigo, like the most powerful Wendigo soul. And in the prologue, in the 1 year before, that's who the stranger was fighting and like killed him. He like killed the big Wendigo.
Yeah.
And the theory is that Hannah was infected with that soul of the most powerful Wendigo, because when they die, this soul gets released.
Transferred, yeah.
So that's that theory. I just consider that canon. So some other things, there's collectibles, there's clues. You have to collect enough clues for Josh to recognize his sister or whatever. And there's also totems that give you like warnings about what can potentially happen. I didn't go through the totems because I don't know. I mean, they're kind of vague. But they can like give you warnings about like, oh, Mike surrounded by fire? What's that about? But it's really interesting, and the whole game kind of focuses on butterfly effect. Like, you don't fight enough with your girlfriend, you fire off the fucking flare, and then you die. So it's a really interesting game, and the Wendigos really scare me. Now, of course, using Wendigos is kind of problematic. We should be very clear about that. Like, it's a Native American thing. Yeah, so I guess we'll do
question time.
Moment of truth.
How much was I actually paying attention?
I feel like you were mostly just enjoying the story.
I kind of was.
I appreciate that. Oh wait, my mic. Anyway, okay, question time.
Okay.
See how much you were paying attention and not just listening to the story.
Story time.
Who can get me hooked?
Okay, there's 4 of them. Do I have to name all 4?
Try your best. I'll give you like
Matt.
Yeah.
Jessica. Chris. Is it Emily?
I think so. Hold on.
Easton doesn't even know.
Yeah, I think it is definitely Emily.
Nice.
It's Matt, Emily, Jess, and Chris. And I think you said Mike.
Hello, folks. This is Editing Reagan here. So while I'm editing this, I realized that I was actually right, and I answered that question correctly. And I just needed to point that out. So I did get a full credit for that question. Thank you.
So, I mean, we can review this, and it's not like the points are real.
It's fine. Whatever.
So, I'm just going to give you a check mark for that one. I think that one's fine. Okay. Who was dating who in the 1 year earlier prologue? I was very confusing about this, so you're going to have to, like, really pay attention.
Mike was dating Emily.
Yes.
And,
no one else was really dating.
No one else was dating. Mike was dating Emily.
We learned, like, the character relationships, like, during the game itself, like, Mike and Jessica like each other, Matt and Emily are dating, Ashley and Chris like each other, and Sam clearly has feelings for Josh until he goes insane.
Yeah.
So that was an easy one, except for the fact that I was confusing. How did the stranger deal with the Wendigos?
Fire.
Kind of, but not the answer I'm looking for.
Oh, trap them in the cages.
Yeah, so that he doesn't have to kill them, because the souls get released. This one is kind of a weird question, but I wanted to talk about it, so I'm going to answer anyway. Did you notice a pattern in how each of the characters were killed in any of the deaths that I mentioned? And I want to be clear, it's an individual pattern for each character.
So it's not like a group pattern?
No.
Probably not.
Okay.
Well, let me think.
Okay.
Let me come up with something. Let me pull something out of my ass real quick. Nope.
Okay, so Jessica always gets her lower jaw ripped off. Emily
Oh.
always has to do with her eyes. Her eyes can get gouged out by the Wendigo. She can get shot in the eye by Mike.
Got it.
Matt always gets his head bashed. Like,
Okay.
Mike always dies by like incineration.
Mm.
Chris, like, decapitation.
Mm.
So like they each, no matter how they die, it's always in like some sort of like
same
similar fashion.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was a difficult question. I don't know. You would have had to be really like listening, because I did mention that Emily got shot in the eye and that her eyes can get gouged out,
Yeah.
and Jessica always getting her jaw ripped off. I did
Yeah.
mention it,
You
but
did.
okay. Last, why are there so many Wendigos on this goddamn mountain? What happened in the past to create all these Wendigos?
There was a mine
Mhm.
that collapsed, and they all got trapped inside, and they ate each other.
Yeah, and they became Wendigos. That's 4 out of 5. Look at that.
I'd like to point out that I looked up a picture of a Wendigo.
Yeah.
I just scared the shit out of myself.
Was it an Until Dawn Wendigo, or was it just like a regular?
I don't know.
Well, I mean,
wasn't
not that Wendigos are real. Well, you know, we never know. I don't go out in the forest.
Well, it wasn't a picture of a Wendigo. I was looking up just stuff about Until Dawn, and a Wendigo picture.
Oh,
popped
so
up.
it was like an Until Dawn
Yeah.
Wendigo. They're pretty. They got a lot of teeth.
Scary. I don't
Yeah.
want to see the movie anymore. If that's
There's
what
a
they
lot
look
of
like.
interpretations of what Wendigos look like. Eventually, so there's another game very similar to this, created by the same people with a similar presence, called The Quarry, which I also really like. It's unfortunately not as good as Until Dawn, and it's because of COVID and like budget cuts and development. But I still really like it, and eventually we'll talk about it.
Okay.
But for now,
that was it.
Explaining to my roommate Until Dawn.
Thank you. Guess what I'm talking about next week?
Is it NCIS again?
No.
What is it?
Today is June 6th.
Oh, is Jin coming back?
Jin is coming home in 6 days. 6 days, less than a week. Okay, so next week I'm gonna have my first installment of individual
BTS boys.
So super exciting. Thank you for listening. Join us again next week.
Yeah.
Or whenever we post.
Yeah, no.
We're graduating, so we'll see what happens.
We'll see.
See ya.